Hi everybody, welcome to Tech Growth Stocks channel. Today I present you a new episode. Specifically, I will give you 5 best earnings growth stocks. These stocks have excellent earnings growth and they have also strong momentum. So I think these are definitely the stocks to focus on right now. So also please subscribe now to my channel so that going forward you do not miss any market leading stocks from me. So please subscribe below in the description with the link. Okay everybody, so before I start right off with the first best earnings growth stock, I have to make a short disclaimer. This video does not constitute financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only, so please consider that. Okay, so that was it for the intro. Let's start right off with the first best earnings growth stock. And as you can see on the chart, it is BYD. Here you can see the longer term chart of BYD, and as you can see, we have been for quite some time here, or let's say from 2014 until let's say this year around June, we have been moving sideways in BYD, and we had here a very strong resistance area. I mean, can you see that line here? It's around 7.30, and for a long time we could not break above this resistance line. Only one time here in 2017, but we came back. We could not follow through strongly into a new uptrend. So I mean, this for a very long time this was a resistance there, and this here in June we could break out above that line or at around $7.30, and we could trade strongly to the upside and form a nice new uptrend in BYD. In the short-term chart here you see that nice uptrend strongly, and as you can see as well, recently since November 5 around or November 2 we have been base building a little bit in BYD. So I think, and now we're at the lower end of that base, and I think soon we could trade to the upside and continue the uptrend in BYD. BYD's growth characteristics are excellent. The EPS growth is very strong with 1,602%. The sales growth is also very good with 35%. And the relative strength rating is also super strong with 97. And it's in a hot sector in the vehicles and parts space, especially also it's an EV manufacturer. So I think BYD has definitely more room to run going forward for the long term, and I think it's definitely a best earnings growth stock. Okay everybody, so that was it for BYD. Let's have a look at the next best earnings growth stock, and it is FTCH. Here you can see the longer term chart of FTCH, and as you can see, it was an IPO in September 2018. After its IPO, it moved sideways, then it broke down and a little downtrend, and we made a low in BYD around this year in March. Could reverse from that low, we traded off the lows, and we broke the downtrend here and formed a nice new uptrend in FTCH. And by the way, why do I always say when the stock had its IPO? I look for young stocks specifically, because young stocks which had their IPOs in the previous 10 years or in the first 10 years after their IPOs, they have their strongest moves. So it definitely pays if you watch out for young stocks, and if you find a young stock 2 years old or 2 years after their IPO, 3 years, 5 years, this could be excellent time points to buy them, especially if they have strong growth, and because they could have way strong performances going forward. Okay, so FTCH, Here we build out the nice uptrend in the longer term chart, as I said. And in the short term chart here, you see a nice uptrend. And you can see as well here we have been base building. Let's say we had a base from August 14 and we could break out of that base around November 2. We broke out of that base strongly traded strongly to the upside and accelerated strongly in FTCH. FTCH growth characteristics. The EPS growth is very strong with 405%. The sales growth is also excellent with 73%. And the relative strength rating is also super strong with 98. And it's in a hot sector in the internet retail space. So I think FTCH is definitely the best earnings growth stock. Okay, everybody, so that was it for FTCH. Now we come to the next best earnings growth stock, and it is Peloton. Here you can see the longer term chart of Peloton, and as you can see, it has been a recent IPO in September 2019, so we are way early in the stock's run, so just a little bit older than 1 year. So this could be an excellent performer for the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years. So after its IPO here in Peloton, we formed a nice IPO base, and we could break out of that IPO base around May this year and form a nice new and strong uptrend in Peloton. The short-term chart here, you see a nice uptrend, and you see as well we have been consolidating in Peloton since October 16, and now we traded off the lows for quite some trading sessions now, and looks like we want to build here maybe a plateau or handle from which we could break out strongly to the upside and continue the strong uptrend in Peloton. Peloton's growth characteristics are excellent. The EPS growth is super strong with 2,360%. The sales growth is also very strong with 202%, and the relative strength rating is very good with 95. So I think Peloton is definitely a best earnings growth stock. And by the way, Peloton is also a top online stock. So I think if you want to know more about the online stocks or the online retail stocks, have a look at my channel. I just made videos about these stocks, about the top internet stocks or top online stocks. Yes, and these stocks have excellent growth potential. So check out that video. I think you should not miss these stocks. Okay, so that was it for Peloton. Now we come to the next best earnings growth stock, and it is ETSY, Etsy. Here you can see the longer term chart of Etsy, and as you can see, now we are in a, let's say, we had a long-term uptrend in Etsy since 2017, and then let's say from July 2019 until this year March, we had a little bit consolidation and a little bit breakdown in Etsy. But in March we made the low this year in Etsy, and we traded off this low to the upside, broke this short-term downtrend, and formed a nice and new strong uptrend. The short-term chart here, you see a nice uptrend. As you can see also, when we look at the longer term chart, this would correspond to the 100-day. We bounced off the 100-day, and here we bounced off it again. So these were these two lows. So we bounced off them. So here we had a consolidation phase in Etsy, a base building phase, and we broke out of that base and now we are forming a high handle, and looks like we just broke out of that high handle. So Etsy is looking great from a technical standpoint. So Etsy's growth characteristics are excellent. The EPS growth is very strong with 483%. The sales growth is also very strong with 132%, and the relative strength rating is very good with 96. And Etsy is in a hot sector in the internet retail space. So I think Etsy is definitely a best earnings growth stock. Okay, everybody, so that was it for Etsy. Now we come to the last best earnings growth stock for today, and it is Zscaler. Here you can see the longer term chart of Zscaler, and as you can see, it's also a quite young company, or quite young. It had its IPO in March 2018, and after its IPO here, it formed a nice IPO base, broke out of that IPO base strongly to the upside, and then it formed a new base, and it could break out from that base, trade to the upside and form a nice new uptrend. And yeah, then it had a, let's say, a little bit, it had a consolidation phase from July 2019 until this year, March. And in March, it made its low this year. It reversed from that low, traded strongly to the upside, could break the previous downtrend and form a nice and new uptrend. The short-term chart, you see a nice uptrend here. And you can see as well, we have been consolidating since, let's say, August in Zscaler, but we could break out recently on the earnings, on strong earnings of that consolidation phase here. We could break out here strongly, and now it looks like we are building a high handle in Zscaler. Zscaler's growth characteristics are excellent. The EPS growth is very strong with 533%. The sales growth is also very strong with 49%. And the relative strength rating is very good with 96. And Zscaler is in a hot sector, in the tech software sector, which has been a leading sector for quite some years now with strong performances. So I think Zscaler is definitely a best earnings growth stock. Okay, everybody, so these were the 5 best earnings growth stocks for today. This was part 1 of the series. I will also release a part 2 of the best earnings growth stocks, where I give you 4 additional best earnings growth stocks with excellent earnings growth. Some of them have superb earnings growth, much stronger than the stocks from today. And they have also good momentum, these stocks which are coming up. So if you do not want to miss that video, please subscribe now to my channel. This makes definitely sense also in the regard, so going forward you won't miss then any market leading stocks and stock opportunities which I present here. So please subscribe now. Okay, if you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up. This would help me very much. And yeah, I had fun making that video, and I hope to see you again in the future. I wish you good luck in trading, and take care in this corona pandemic. Cheers.